astrologers can't even astronomy. That's what this is gonna be called. We're gonna read a Christmas story now.
Ah, good.
I'm gonna read it to you and to the audience.
Oh, good.
This is The Nutcracker, a pop-up adaptation of E.T.A. Hoffman's original tale by David and Noel Carter.
Extra.
So we're not gonna read this whole thing. We're gonna read a specific part because it's a pop-up story. Like, here's your pop-up.
Oh, good. That's actually horrifying.
Oh yeah, they dance. Hold on.
Nope. No.
What it also has on certain pages is it has, like, the story over here, but then it has more story. And it has, like, short stories within this one story. So we're gonna read one of the short stories.
Is it seasonal and festive?
Yes.
Good. Oh, yeah, this book is so extra.
So, like, you don't know the story of the Nutcracker. I don't know what
Spoiler alert.
Here's what we're gonna read. Let me just give you some context. If you've ever seen the ballet, this is different slightly because the stories are slightly different from the ballet. There's a Nutcracker, and he is given as a gift to this girl named Clara or Marie, depending on your version. And then in the middle of the night, she falls asleep, and when she wakes up, there are a bunch of rats everywhere. There's a 7-headed mouse rat king. It has 7 heads in the book.
What the actual heck?
So, the Nutcracker has also, like, become life-size and is, like, fighting the mice, and there's toy soldiers, and they defeat the mice, and they kill the Mouse King.
Sounds like Christmas Eve for
Rat
me.
King. So, and at the end of the battle, Marie Clara faints and falls to the floor. And now we start here with the passage entitled, The Story of the Hard Nut.
You know how well I'm doing containing myself right now?
So, Marie's godfather Drosselmeyer came to see her, and he brought her the Nutcracker. His jaw was as good as new. He told her the story of how the Nutcracker was cursed with ugliness, and why he and the Mouse King had become enemies. This story is entitled The Story of the Hard Nut. I'm going to read it to you now. In a country not far away, a beautiful baby girl was born to a king and queen. Her eyes were sparkling blue and her hair looked like spun gold. The king and queen named her Perlipat because they wanted her to be bullied for the rest of her life.
They hated her and knew that she would sag.
Because they were jealous of how pretty she was. The queen said she must be guarded all the time, watched over by nursemaids who sat around the cradle, each with a cat in her lap. Don't know why that's a necessary detail to add. Many months before the Princess Perlipat was born, oh, it is necessary, I forgot, the evil Queen Mouserynx.
No. No? Can I ask a clarifying question? Is Mouserynx a mouse? Okay.
Imagine if your name was Human Nick.
Because that would mean that there's the existence of a rat king who is a rat. And they're like, and the evil queen, Mouserynx.
The evil Queen Mouserynx had vowed to cast a spell on the firstborn of the royal family. This came about because the king was very fond of sausages.
Okay, first of all, disregarding the innuendo completely. What does that have to do with anything? She would cast an evil spell on him for his love of sausages and gluttony.
But the astronomer had told him the time was right for sausage making.
And the stars have aligned for sausages on this day of days. My king?
He asked the queen to make them as she always had done. While she was cooking the meat and fat, the delicious smell brought Queen Mouserynx, who lived with her friends and relations under the castle floors in the kitchen. She requested a piece of the juicy meat, which the queen kindly gave to her. Yes?
Doing such a good job.
Yeah.
Disregarding the innuendo.
Yeah.
What was the exact wording? Asking for a piece of the juicy meat?
She requested a piece of the juicy meat.
Did we just clarify in the story that Mouserynx, the wicked of the Mouse Queen, lives under the kitchen floor of a real castle?
Yes.
So
Which
she's
is what
a
I
mouse
like.
sock?
Because, yes, she's a mouse.
Okay, so, but
She is a mouse.
She is a mouse.
Yes.
She's a queen of mice.
Yes.
So she's not a human-sized mouse.
The human queen and the human king had Princess Perlipat, and then this Mouserynx is the mouse queen.
Okay.
No, but that's why I'm saying it's weird. It's weirder. Because that would be the equivalent of you being named Human Nick.
Imagine you live in a world where you have to be worried about what animals are human-like.
Imagine living in a world where someone's name is Perlipat.
I just can't resist it. I gotta marry that girl.
Well, we're getting to that. I like to imagine that Queen and King Mouserynx just think that this is their castle.
Yeah. Because what I was picturing was a full human-sized mouse that is living under the kitchen floor, and she crawls up human-sized and is like,
no.
Can I have a piece of the juicy meat?
I think she does have 8 heads, though.
What the heck?
I just like to think that they think this is their castle, and that the humans are the intruders.
Oh my gosh, our perfect kingdom was built right on top of this awful castle, this kitchen, the juicy meat.
Kitchen. She requested a piece of the juicy meat, which the
Stop
queen
saying
kindly
that.
gave to her. Soon the kitchen was overrun with mice, gobbling up almost all of the sausage meat and fat.
Go figure.
This ruined the queen's sausages, and the king was so angry, he decided to put an end to the mice.
Ah.
The king called inventor Drosselmeyer, who devised hundreds of little mouse traps baited with sausage.
Time out. Can I make another comment? Did the astronomer not say it was the perfect time for sausage making? This is the worst of all the astronomers. Oh, nothing could go wrong, my king, my lord. This is the perfect time for sausage making. I guarantee you, on my life as an astronomer, perfect time to make the sausages. And then they get eaten? I would kill the astronomer.
To be fair, he didn't say this is the perfect time to make
eat
sausages for humans.
Yeah.
He just says these sausages you make right now are going to be really good.
Yeah, one of the mice just wipes it out and burps because, yeah, it was the perfect time to make sausages.
Also, I like how Drosselmeyer just self-inserted himself into this. Like, I know it's supposed to be like it was actually him, but if your weird godfather just sat down and gave you a bedtime story and was like, and then I, the inventor, was called
Uncle Drosselmeyer.
Like, what are you doing? All of the mice friends and relations were caught in the traps, except for Queen Mouserynx,
Lucky
who
dog.
was too clever. She was very angry and vowed to cast a curse upon the king and queen's first child, Princess Perlipat, which she did shortly after the princess was born. One night, the nursemaids fell asleep. There are like 8 of them. And cats in their laps to eat the mice.
I'm gonna nod off real fast. Are you gonna be able to stay awake?
Stupid freaking nursemaids. When they awoke, they found the princess changed. Her head was huge, with large, round green eyes, a grin that stretched from ear to ear, and spindly little arms and legs that hung from her small
Oh,
body.
she sounds so ugly. How could anyone love her? Can you answer that question?
Well, her name is still Perlipat.
No one could love her. She's ugly, and also her name's Sex.
Horrified, the king again sent for inventor Drosselmeyer, appearance 2,
Who worked so well the first time.
and ordered him to break the spell. Inventor Drosselmeyer consulted the court astronomer.
Who's a hack who can't even astronomy?
Court astrologer can't even astronomy? Question
Not
mark.
clickbait?
That's what this is gonna be called. Who
What was mine?
found that Princess Perlipat must eat the hardest nut in the world,
So they called all the knights.
the Krakatook. I'm gonna make like a horror movie like the Babadook
The
meets the
Babadook.
Krampus, but it's gonna be called the Krakatook,
Krakatook.
and it's all about the hard nut. It must be cracked by a young man who has never shaved and has never worn boots. These are strange requirements to crack the hardest nut.
My
The
king,
nut
I can
go
do
on.
it. I have never shaved, nary. That's why my beard is so long, and also, I have never worn boots. Only sandals and bare feet. Adidas.
Not sponsor.
That's not a sponsor.
After presenting the nut to the princess,
Okay.
he then must take 7 steps backward without stumbling. The king offered
You know
his
what I mean?
daughter's hand to anyone in his kingdom who succeeded in ending the curse. Years went by, and after many young men failed to break the spell, inventor Drosselmeyer's nephew was able to crack the nut. He ended the curse and restored Princess Perlipat to her former beauty. When he was taking his 7th step backward, however, Queen Mouserynx, still kicking years later, even though she's a mouse,
that doesn't make continuous sense.
popped up through the floor and he stumbled. Alas, the curse fell upon the young man, and he became as ugly as the princess had been.
What, was she ugly?
She was beautiful, that she got cursed, and then she was ugly.
Yeah, but is she still ugly now?
No. The hard nut gets rid of
Stop. The boy's hard nut got rid. Okay, good. Yep.
If he takes 7 steps backward without stumbling, they're both good. If he stumbles, he's now ugly.
Well, maybe if he weren't wearing boots, he would have been able to do it right. And if he didn't have to see past all that facial hair.
When the now beautiful Princess Perlipat saw the cursed Nutcracker, she demanded that he be taken away. Instead of marrying the princess, Drosselmeyer's nephew was banished from the kingdom. The court astronomer told inventor Drosselmeyer that his nephew could cast off his ugliness when he slayed the 7-headed son of Queen Mouserynx, and he had won the love of a young lady in spite of his ugliness.
That's the end of the story?
That's the end of the story of the hard nut.
So stop saying that. This ugly boy who cannot wear boots.
Okay, he's...
Oh wait, does he turn ugly?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Watch this.
Oh gosh. Horrifying.
There's Queen Mouserynx.
Who could love him?
That's some art right there.
Thanks for making me do that. I really hated that story.
I know.
I hate this book.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the fact that was titled The Hard Nut. Your camera's dying of battery.
I don't know if that means it's like dead.
No.
Is there a little bar left?
Not exactly. Become Krampus. Forget he's your father. Pretend you have amnesia. We did it. And the dog came back.
He wants to hear.
You want to bite my hand off?
No, he doesn't. He's so
white whale of mine.
You're sick though. You're not usually